The setting of this video is about a popular Twitch streamer named Justfoxii who was stalked by a guy named Farhan, a situation that almost turned deadly. He had watched her for many years. He was a huge fan that turned into something worse. He had donated up to $2,000 to her over time. He kept waiting for her to reach out, or thank him especially, or something more. But of course she had thousands of fans donating to her, and she shouldn't single one out to thank specially. Well, things take a turn when he learns she has a boyfriend. We'll use the name Alex instead of Farhan. In this video, Justfoxii's journey into the world of streaming began humbly, like many creators navigating the ever-growing digital landscape. She wasn't just another face in the crowd. Her vibrant personality and engaging content quickly set her apart. Streaming initially started as a hobby, a way to connect with like-minded individuals while playing her favorite games, but soon transformed into something much larger. Her live streams became a hub of entertainment, laughter, and relatability. Whether it was gaming sessions filled with hilarious commentary, deep dives into her personal life, or simply chatting with her audience, Justfoxii made sure her viewers felt seen and valued. She built a reputation as someone who genuinely cared about her community, and that authenticity fueled her rapid growth. But success didn't come overnight. Like many creators, she faced countless hours of hard work, technical setbacks, and the ever-present challenge of standing out in a saturated market. Yet, her determination and the quality of her content never wavered. Slowly but surely, her channel grew, attracting thousands of followers who resonated with her energy. Her rise in popularity wasn't just about the numbers. For Justfoxii, streaming was a two-way street. She didn't just entertain, she listened. Her community felt like a second home, where fans came not only to watch but to be a part of something bigger. Her chats were filled with inside jokes, heartfelt conversations, and the kind of camaraderie that made her space feel welcoming to all. But with fame came new challenges. While the majority of her fans were respectful and supportive, she was aware that being in the public eye also made her a target. Trolls, unsolicited opinions, and the occasional overzealous fan were things she learned to navigate over time. Despite these challenges, she maintained her professionalism and continued to pour her heart into her content. What made Justfoxii unique was her ability to balance her personal authenticity with the demands of being a public figure. She knew that her growth wasn't just about her talent, it was also about her ability to connect deeply with her audience. That connection was a double-edged sword. While it brought immense support and joy, it also blurred the lines between admiration and obsession for some individuals. As her following grew, so did the intensity of her interactions with fans. Most were harmless, but one would soon cross the line in a way that no one could have anticipated. This was the beginning of a story that would test her resilience, redefine her boundaries, and highlight the darker side of fame. This foundation sets the stage for the chilling events that would follow, demonstrating not only the highs of Justfoxii's career, but also the vulnerabilities that come with living life so publicly. At first, it was nothing out of the ordinary. Like many popular streamers, Justfoxii received messages from fans daily, words of encouragement, jokes, and even the occasional quirky meme. Among these messages, one user stood out. They were active in every stream, leaving enthusiastic comments and sending direct messages expressing their admiration. For months, Justfoxii regarded this person as nothing more than an ardent supporter, someone genuinely invested in her success. The messages from the fan, whom we'll call Alex, started off harmless. They praised her gaming skills, commented on her sense of humor, and thanked her for being a source of positivity in their life. To Justfoxii, it was touching to know that her content had such a meaningful impact. However, over time, Alex's behavior began to shift from supportive to intrusive. It started with Alex joining every single stream, without fail. While that in itself wasn't alarming, many fans were regulars. It was the increasing frequency of their messages and their growing intensity that raised a red flag. Alex began sending lengthy emails, detailing personal struggles and explaining how much they depended on Justfoxii to get through their days. The tone of these messages moved from gratitude to something more possessive. Phrases like, "I wouldn't know what to do without you," and "You're the only one who truly understands me," started appearing frequently. Despite the slight discomfort these messages caused, Justfoxii tried to remain empathetic. She understood that her content might serve as a form of escapism or comfort for some fans. But what she didn't anticipate was how Alex's fixation would escalate. Alex began to dominate her streams, spamming the chat with messages that demanded her attention. When she didn't respond immediately, they grew agitated, accusing her of ignoring them or not appreciating their support. It became apparent to other viewers, who started pointing out Alex's behavior. Some even joked about Alex being her biggest fan. But the undertone was clear. Their behavior was crossing a line. Things took a darker turn when Alex began to delve into her personal life. In one particularly jarring message, Alex mentioned details about her hometown and events she had casually referenced in her streams. It was subtle at first, but the specificity of the information was unsettling. Justfoxii started to realize that Alex wasn't just piecing together information from her streams. They were actively researching her. Her unease grew when Alex sent a message stating they felt connected on a deeper level and believed they were destined to meet in person. While many fans fantasize about meeting their favorite creators, the tone of Alex's messages was different, more insistent, more entitled. Still, Justfoxii hoped it was an isolated case of overzealous fandom. She addressed the matter in her streams delicately, reminding her audience of boundaries and encouraging her community to respect her privacy. While most viewers were understanding, Alex's behavior didn't waver. If anything, the reminders seemed to embolden them, as though they interpreted her words as a personal challenge. Then came the gifts. Packages began arriving at her P.O. box, most of them harmless tokens like fan art or small trinkets. But one package stood out. Inside was a handwritten letter filled with unsettling declarations of devotion, accompanied by a personal item, a bracelet that Alex claimed they had worn every day for years. They described it as a symbol of our connection, urging her to wear it so they could feel closer to her. The situation had gone from uncomfortable to frightening. What started as innocent admiration had morphed into something obsessive, and Justfoxii began to question how much of her life she had inadvertently exposed online. She confided in close friends and family, sharing her concerns about Alex and the growing sense that her privacy was under siege. This chapter of the story marks a turning point. What seemed like an innocent interaction with a devoted fan had spiraled into an unsettling obsession. Justfoxii now faced a reality that every public figure fears. The line between admiration and intrusion had been crossed, and the consequences were about to escalate. As unsettling as the situation had become, Justfoxii didn't want to overreact. She had always been a firm believer in treating her community with kindness, even when someone's behavior became inappropriate. But Alex's obsession was no longer confined to digital spaces. It was beginning to seep into her real life. One evening, after wrapping up a live stream, she noticed an unusual notification on her phone. Alex had tagged her in a social media post that included a photo of her local coffee shop, one she had only mentioned in passing during a casual conversation with her chat. The caption read, "It's such a lovely place. I can see why you like it." Her heart sank. The post wasn't overtly threatening, but its implications were clear. Alex knew where she spent her time. It was the first indication that their fixation had transcended the boundaries of the virtual world. Determined to address the issue head-on, she blocked Alex across all platforms and even posted a general statement on social media reminding her community about the importance of respecting boundaries. Most of her audience expressed support, but Alex's response was swift and disturbing. Blocked on her primary accounts, Alex created multiple fake profiles, each more aggressive than the last. Their messages were no longer pleading or apologetic. They were demanding and laced with anger. One read, "You think you can just cut me off? You owe me. I've been there for you. And now you're treating me like trash." The shift from admiration to entitlement was terrifying. Things escalated further when she received an email from an address she didn't recognize. The subject line simply said, "We need to talk." Against her better judgment, she opened it. The email was a rambling tirade, detailing how Alex felt betrayed and hurt. But what alarmed her most was the specific knowledge of her routines, what time she streamed, the days she went to the gym, and even the names of a few close friends she had mentioned online. The situation was no longer just about an overzealous fan. Alex's behavior now bordered on stalking, and Justfoxii's sense of security was unraveling. She started to notice small but significant changes in her daily life. Packages continued arriving, even after she shut down her P.O. box. Sometimes, She'd hear the faint sound of a car idling outside her apartment late at night, or catch fleeting glimpses of someone watching her from a distance. Her anxiety reached a tipping point when she received a knock at her door one evening. Peering through the peephole, she didn't recognize the man standing there. He wasn't wearing a delivery uniform or carrying any identifiable items, just a nondescript hoodie and a blank expression. Her gut told her not to open the door, and when she asked who it was, the man simply muttered something unintelligible before leaving. The next day, she found a handwritten note taped to her door. It read, "Why won't you talk to me?" The handwriting was eerily similar to the letters Alex had sent in the past. Terrified, she contacted the police. While they took her concerns seriously, there was little they could do at that point. Most of Alex's actions, while invasive, hadn't crossed the threshold into criminal behavior. She was advised to document everything and consider installing security cameras around her property. For the first time in her career, Justfoxii considered stepping away from streaming altogether. The platform she once loved had turned into a source of constant fear and paranoia. She couldn't shake the feeling that Alex was watching her every move, waiting for an opportunity to make contact. Her friends and family urged her to take the situation seriously, and she finally did. She upgraded her home security system, hired a private investigator to look into Alex's identity, and even stayed with a friend for a few weeks while she sorted out her next steps. But no matter how many precautions she took, one thing was clear. Alex wasn't going to stop. The events of this section left her shaken and vulnerable, but they also fueled her determination to protect herself. The story wasn't over yet, and the coming chapters would test her resilience like never before. The growing unease had turned Justfoxii's once vibrant life into a carefully orchestrated dance of self-preservation. Every decision she made now revolved around staying safe. Security cameras lined her apartment, her daily routine became unpredictable, and she grew wary of even the most mundane interactions. But despite these efforts, the feeling of being watched lingered, and Alex's determination only seemed to intensify. One night, as she was scrolling through her messages, she noticed a strange pattern. A new account had begun interacting with her on social media, one that avoided direct comments or overt displays of obsession. Instead, the messages were veiled in a sickening familiarity, referencing private details about her life, details she had never shared online. The messages were subtle at first, comments about her favorite color or how she liked her coffee. Then they escalated to chillingly precise observations, like what she had worn during a recent outing or the name of a friend who had visited her apartment. Her heart sank when she saw the latest message. "You looked beautiful in that blue sweater today. It's my favorite on you." Justfoxii froze. She hadn't worn a blue sweater on stream or posted a picture of herself in one. That sweater was something she had only worn while running errands earlier that day. The message confirmed what she had feared for weeks. Alex was watching her in real life. Terrified, she reached out to the private investigator she had hired. By this point, the investigator had pieced together enough information to confirm Alex's identity. It turned out that Alex wasn't even the person's real name. It was a pseudonym. They initiated a formal investigation and issued a restraining order against Alex. But the relief was short-lived. Only days after the restraining order was served, Alex retaliated in a way that sent shockwaves through her life. A package arrived at her apartment, a nondescript brown box with no return address. At first, she hesitated to open it, fearing what might be inside. When she finally did, her stomach churned. Inside was a photo album. The pictures were all of her, walking her dog, leaving her apartment, sitting at her favorite coffee shop. Some were taken from a distance, while others were so close they looked like they were snapped mere feet away. The final page of the album contained a handwritten note that read, "You can't ignore me forever." Shaking, she called the police again. This time, they acted swiftly. The package was collected as evidence, and a team of officers was dispatched to track down Alex. The authorities assured her that they were closing in, but the psychological toll on her was immeasurable. Her private investigator recommended she take additional steps to protect herself, such as relocating temporarily and hiring personal security. She complied, leaving her apartment and moving to an undisclosed location. Her streams became infrequent, and when she did appear online, she avoided mentioning anything about her personal life. Still, she couldn't escape the paranoia that had taken root in her mind. Every shadow, every unfamiliar sound felt like a threat. Even with the restraining order in place, Alex's presence loomed large over her life. It wasn't just about her safety anymore. It was about reclaiming the sense of normalcy that had been stolen from her. But the nightmare wasn't over yet. As authorities closed in on Alex, Justfoxii braced herself for the possibility that things could get worse before they got better. The situation reached its peak when the authorities finally tracked down Alex. Late one evening, after weeks of surveillance and investigation, law enforcement located him in a car parked just few blocks down the road from Justfoxii's house. That evening, someone had come to the front of her house and set her car on fire. That person was Alex. He had bought some sparklers and a bag of thermite, a substance used to make fireworks. Then he flew from his house in New York, all the way to Justfoxii's house in Ohio, somehow passing through TSA without any hassles. When he got to Ohio, he rented a car, went to Home Depot and bought a ceramic pot. Then he went back to Airbnb he rented. There he calmly used all the materials he had to essentially create something that seemed like a giant Roman candle. Around 11 p.m., he drove to Justfoxii's house where he saw her car parked outside the house. First, he casually walked to the driveway of the house in order to scope it out. Then he walked back to his car to retrieve the supplies he had made earlier in his rental apartment. What he did first was to put a box-shaped brick on Justfoxii's car. Then he put the ceramic pot on the brick, lit the fuse, and casually walked away back to his car. Then a force started. The car was burned and destroyed. But while all this was happening, Justfoxii wasn't home. She was actually on a holiday. But her mom was home and had seen all this happen through the window. The home security camera also recorded this incident. At this point, the fire had already spread to the fence of the house and had started to engulf part of the house also. So Justfoxii's mom calls the police, and then the fire service were able to put out the fire. When the police arrived, they started to search around the area but didn't find anyone. One police decides to extend his search area down the street, where he found someone sleeping in a car. It was Alex. The police asked him a couple of questions, and with each answer he gave, their suspicions were increasing. Alex kept denying he had no idea about any fire. When asked why he was parked there, he said he was just tired. Well, the police brought a sniffer dog and it led them from the house, straight to where Alex was parked. The police knew they caught their suspect at that moment. He was handcuffed and taken to the police station. Alex was taken into custody, and the evidence was more than enough to charge him with stalking, harassment, and violating the restraining order. For Justfoxii, it was a moment of relief, but it didn't erase the trauma she had endured. In the days following his arrest, she began to rebuild her life piece by piece. She resumed streaming but made significant changes to how she interacted online. Her new approach prioritized privacy and security above all else. Personal details about her life were off-limits, and she hired a professional team to manage her online presence, filtering out potential threats before they could reach her. The legal process against Alex was long and grueling. Throughout the trial, she faced moments of doubt and fear, but she persevered, determined to see it through. She even chose to testify. Her testimony was powerful, detailing how his actions had invaded her life and left her constantly looking over her shoulder. The verdict was clear. Alex was found guilty on all charges. He was sentenced to prison, and a long-term restraining order was issued, further ensuring her safety. While the sentence provided a sense of closure, Justfoxii knew the scars from the ordeal would take time to heal. As she reflected on the events, she realized the importance of using her platform to raise awareness about online safety. She began sharing her story, not in graphic detail but in a way that highlighted the dangers of oversharing online and the importance of setting boundaries. Her experience resonated with many, sparking conversations about the darker side of internet fame and the measures creators can take to protect themselves. The incident also led to positive changes within the streaming community. Platforms implemented stricter policies on harassment and stalking, and many creators followed her lead, adopting measures to safeguard their personal information. Justfoxii became an advocate for these changes, turning her pain into a purpose that benefited others. Despite the challenges, she managed to reclaim her sense of control. While she remained cautious, her love for creating content never wavered. Slowly, her streams returned to the joyful, welcoming spaces they had always been, with her loyal fans rallying behind her. Her story serves as a cautionary tale, but also as a testament to resilience. It's a reminder that behind the screen, every creator is a person with boundaries and vulnerabilities. And while the internet can connect people in extraordinary ways, it also requires vigilance and responsibility from all parties involved. Justfoxii's journey is a stark example of how quickly admiration can turn into obsession, and how critical it is to act when the lines of respect are crossed. For her, the experience was a harrowing chapter in her life, but it also underscored her strength and the power of community support. Today, she continues to thrive, not just as a content creator but as an advocate for online safety, determined to ensure that no one else has to endure what she did. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to be notified as we add new videos daily. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.